Assalamu alaikum and welcome again. Now we will talk about the software, which is the rest part of 1.1. You will find it in your book page 3 and 4. We have to talk about the application software and the operating software.
A computer system consists of hardware and software. The term hardware means the physical components such as the processor and the monitor. Software is a word that describes all programs that run on a computer. Many different pieces of software exist, and each piece of software fits into one of two categories: system software and application software. This chapter looks at application software.
A piece of application software is a program that allows the user to perform some well-defined task. The most commonly encountered examples of application software are office productivity tools. The suite you are most likely to have heard of is Microsoft Office. Such a suite consists of, among other programs, spreadsheet, database, presentation, and word processing software. The computer can run without these programs, but they can be opened by the user to perform a certain task, such as writing a letter as needed.
Another example of an application is a web authoring program. When you access a web page, your computer downloads code written in a language called Hypertext Markup Language, or HTML. Your browser, which is also a piece of application software, converts this code into the web page that was assembled by a web developer. They will have used a web authoring program to write this code and produce the web page.
Applications also exist to create and modify multimedia products, including images, sound, and video. These range from very basic programs, which are often included free with a new computer, to professional packages costing thousands of pounds. You might create a video with backing music and subtitles using applications such as iMovie or Movie Maker. The programs that are used to produce multi-million-pound special effects scenes for high-budget films are also examples of application software. They are simply more sophisticated.
Project management software allows users to plan complex tasks involving teams of people. The project can be broken down into pieces, with each piece being assigned to a person or a team. A start date and an end date are assigned, and tasks can be placed into a logical order. Emails can be sent to team members to keep them up to date on what is required of them, and the cost and completion date can be estimated.
It is a mistake to think of application software as something belonging only to desktop and laptop computers. Tablets and phones also use application software, but this has been shortened to a much more familiar word: apps. Mobile apps are often created for purposes far more specific and specialized than desktop applications. You might, for example, download an app whose only purpose is to convert from metric to imperial measurements. Every browser, social media app, news app, and game is an individual example of application software.
But before we talk about the lesson as it in our book, we have to refer to previously to our two diagrams in our book. It is in page 3 and 4. We can find the application software and also the system software. Now, let's talk about the application software. We have some applications in our computer which helping us to achieve our work. We can talk about word processor, spreadsheets, database, control and measuring software, the apps, photo editing software, video editing software, and the graphics manipulation software. We cannot refer to brand names or the commercial names of our applications. We have to talk about them in general, like in our book. I cannot say Microsoft Word, I can say word processor. I cannot say Excel, but I say spreadsheet. It's not Access, it is database, and so on. Now here also it is not Photoshop, it is photo editing software. Now for the word processor, as you see, word processing software is used to manipulate text documents such as an essay or report. Now, what can I do in this software? This software provides us by tools of copying, deleting, and also formatting. It has the functions of creating, editing, saving, and manipulating text, also spell checking, import photos, and making some format for the page layout, translation into other languages. Now for the spreadsheets, I can remember the Excel. It is the software which is used to organize and manipulate numerical data. It is talking about integers, real numbers, date, and so on. Now, what can I do by spreadsheet? We can use some functions which is using formulas to carry out calculations, the ability to produce graphs and charts. Also, it has the ability of modeling using what if calculations. I can do some modeling and simulation for my what if cases. Now, database. Database, I can remember the Access. It is the software which is used to organize, manipulate, and analyze the data. Now, the database is used for one or more table which is consisted of rows and fields. Fields are the columns. Now we can get some relationship between these tables. Now some of the functions in my database is the ability to carry out queries on my database and produce some reports. Now it can add, delete, modify data in my table. Now, what is control and measuring software? Control and measuring software is designed to allow the computer or the microprocessor to interface with sensors so that it is possible to measure the physical quantities in the real world. Also, control applications such as the chemical process by comparing sensor data with the stored data and sending out signals to alter process parameters and make some effect. Now, when I say my car has some sensor and it is parking sensor, when I use the parking system and some alert comes to my system when I am doing the parking, the controller to make this sound or this alarm is this program which is named control and measuring software. Now the apps, it is the short of applications. We are using this term in our smartphones and also our tablets. This type of software runs on our mobiles and tablets. They are usually downloaded from the App Store or the Play Store and range from games, sophisticated software on my phone like banking also or online shopping. Common examples include video games, music streaming, GPS, also camera facility, and so on. Now, photo editing software. Photo editing software allows the user to manipulate digital photographs stored on our computers. Like what? To change the brightness, change the contrast, alter color, saturation, or remove the red eye. They also allow for very complex manipulations of photo, like I want to change the features of some face or to combine photos, and so on. We have to remember and memorize all of these features in our photo editing software. Now, video editing software looks like the photo editing, but here we are talking about animation, we are talking about frames, we are talking about speed. So, video editing software allows a user to manipulate videos to produce an edited video. It enables the addition of titles, color correction, altering or adding sound to original video. Now it includes rearranging, adding or removing the sections of our video, applying color correction filters also to our video enhancements, and also creating transitions between the clips in the video footage. Now, graphics manipulation software. It is different from the photo editing software. Now, in graphics, we are talking about software that allows bitmap and vector images to be changed. Now, what is bitmap and what is vector? Bitmap images are made of pixels that contain information about the image brightness and color. Now, bitmap graphics editors can change the pixels to produce different image. Now, what is vector graphic? It is not pixels. We are not talking about points on our screen. We are talking about here, as you see, it is software that manipulates lines, curves, and text to alter the stored image as required. So I can use here some calculations or formulas, some functions to make my work. I am not just only drawing, I also make some commands to make my drawings. Now, the type of editing software used depends on the format of the original image. After this,
A computer system consists of hardware and software. The term hardware means the physical components such as the processor and the monitor. Software is a word that describes all programs that run on a computer. Many different pieces of software exist, and each piece of software fits into one of two categories: system software and application software. This chapter looks at system software.
System software is a term that describes any program that manages the computer. The most important piece of system software, by far the largest, is the operating system. On a desktop or laptop machine, your operating system is likely to be one of Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. For tablets and smartphones, the most common operating systems are iOS and Android, although others do exist.
An operating system has many small jobs, but they all fall under the larger task of managing the behavior of the computer. In order to remember what the smaller jobs are, it may help to remember the internal components of the computer. First, we'll consider the processor. Some processors can only handle one task at a time, while others can handle several at once. In either case, the operating system is responsible for determining which job the processor will do next. Managing multiple processes at the same time is called multitasking.
When a program or a file is opened, it is loaded from secondary storage into RAM. If there's not sufficient room in RAM, space needs to be made for the incoming program or file. It's the job of the operating system to manage the loading process and also to decide which data should make way if there's not enough room.
The operating system also has a role to play in managing secondary storage. Files can be created, opened, searched for, edited, renamed, moved, duplicated or deleted, and an operating system provides the facilities for a user to do any of these. The operating system also maintains the computer's hierarchical storage, allowing directories, also known as folders, to be stored inside other directories.
It's also the operating system's job to manage the computer's drivers. A driver is a piece of software that tells the computer how to communicate with a peripheral, such as a printer or a webcam. Unless the driver for a particular piece of hardware is installed and working correctly, the computer will not be able to communicate with that piece of hardware.
Alongside the operating system, there are smaller programs called utilities. A utility is another piece of system software, but with a much smaller, more well-defined purpose. Common utilities include defragmentation tools, which optimize storage space, antivirus software, which protects against malware, and compression tools, which can reduce a file size for storage or transmission.
There is no single operating system that can simply be considered as the best. Different operating systems are suited to different situations. The operating system of a server will have different capabilities to that of a workstation or a handheld device. Even embedded systems, such as a television set-top box, require an operating system, and this is unlikely to be Windows or Mac OS. The less capable a device is, the the fewer features will be expected of its operating system.
We will talk about the system software. Now, as system software, we have compiler, linkers, device driver, operating system, and utilities. I have to remember these 5. Now, what is compiler? I can say that compiler is the software. It is a program which is used as a translator between the high-level language program and the machine language program. How comes? Now, when I write a program, like I am a developer or a programmer, I will write my program using some programming language like C++, Visual Basic, Fortran, Python, Java, or Algol. All of these are programming languages the developers are using in their work. Now, my computer understands only 1 and 0, 0 and 1. Now, how can this computer and this CPU execute my work if it cannot understand the English language? So I need some translator to translate my work in this high-level language to the machine language, which is 1001, and so on. So my program will be entered to the compiler. Compiler will produce my compiled program. Now this compiled program, it is named the object code, and my work as a programmer, my program is named the source code because it is the source code from the compiler, and the machine language program is named the object code because it is the object of this compiler. How the compiler works. Now the source code, which is written by the developer, it is written in some high-level language program. We said that it is Python, C++, Visual Basic, and any other programming language. We can refer to it as HLL. Now this program will be entered to the compiler software. Now this compiler software will make the translation to produce object code, which will be executed by the computer. And also this object code, we can tell it is the low-level language program. We can refer to it as LLL. This is the code or the program which is in the computer language, the machine language. Now, linkers are using these compiled programs like how? Linker is a computer program that takes one or more object files produced by the compiler and combines them into single program that can be run on the computer. Like what? It's like a puzzle or the Lego that you can use the same piece of Lego for many designs. So the same is here. I can produce some basic object program, object code that I can use it in many programs. Like when I talk about copy and paste as icons, Microsoft Office, it is using the copy and paste and cut also in many of its applications. So the linker is using the compiler to get these icons in its different applications. This is the purpose of using the linker. Now, when I say the linker, we are talking about many programming languages allow programmers to write different pieces of code, which is called modules. Now, these modules, you can talk about them like the pieces of your Lego. Now, this simplifies the programming task since it allows the program to be broken up into small, more manageable subtasks. However, at some point it will be necessary to put all modules together to form the final program. Like in Lego, you are putting all the pieces to build your car or airplane or the castle. Now, this is the job of the linker. So it is like it is taking some components of object codes to build the final program. Now, what is device driver? Its name is cheating us. Anybody can find the device driver. It's like hardware, but no, it is software. It is the software that with what job? It is enabling one or more hardware devices to communicate with a computer's operating system. Without drivers, hardware device like the printer would not be able to work with your computer, which means that when I want to buy some new printer to my computer, I should ask for the CD of this printer because I need to add this printer to my computer system. Some printers you buy with no CD, but you have to get the link from the online website for this company. You can download this device driver to your system, which enables you to connect this printer to your computer. All hardware devices connected to our computer have associated drivers. Now, as soon as the device is plugged into the USB port of the computer, the operating system looks for appropriate driver. An error message will be produced if it cannot be found. If you don't add your printer to your computer and in the future you want to print using this printer, the system will display to you an error message that this printer is not found, and so on. Now, what is operating system? Operating system is the software that is running in the background of your computer system. Without operating system, you cannot do anything in your computer. It manages many of the basic functions. Without it, most computers would be very user unfriendly, and majority of users would find it almost impossible to work with a computer with no operating system. Now, what does operating system allow us to do? Input-output operations, users to communicate with computer, error handling to take place, the loading and running of the programs to occur, managing of security like logging in your user and password. Now, what are the utilities? Utilities are the programs or the software that has been designed to carry out specific tasks on your computer. Now, they are programs that help or manage to maintain and control the computer resources. Like what? When I say I want an antivirus, so I want some utility, anti-spyware, backup of files, disk repair, file management, security, screensavers, and also the disk defragmenter. All of these are examples for utilities.